Hello and welcome back to my channel, Emily's Creative Life, and my 2020 Valentine card series. Today is day 1 of 14. This card is full of shimmer, which is perfect for Valentine's Day, so let's go ahead and get into it. Here I will be using some Cougar bright white 110 pound cardstock, and some Deco foil transfer gel, a palette knife, and this doily stencil by Prima. I am temporarily holding that down with some purple tape, and I will be using that palette knife to spread that gel and get it as smooth across that stencil as possible so that there's no weird lumps when I apply the foil. I will place the extra back into my jar, and then I go ahead and use a baby wipe to wipe off my palette knife. And then I remove that stencil, and you can see the design on there. It's quite pretty. I am running that through my Anna Griffin mink machine. I went ahead and let that dry overnight so that it was ready for foiling, and I used some Deco foil opal foil. It's a really pretty foil. You can see that kind of rainbow effect that it has. And then I will be using my Sizzix big kick machine and running some hearts and some word dies through there. This first heart is a scalloped heart by Lifestyle Crafts, and I'll be cutting that from some Vellum, and then another heart from Firefly, and I'll be running that, or cutting that from some of that same Cougar cardstock. And then this love die from this Bobunny love squared die set from some pink glitter cardstock. So after I've finished running all those through, I use that same love die and place that on that white heart that I have cut out. And I'm trying to center that as best as I can, and I'll use some purple tape to hold that down while I run it through my big kick machine. I will be doing a die cut inlay with that pink glitter cardstock. So then I will be using my EK Tools scoring board to score another piece of that Cougar cardstock at 5.5 inches for a top folding A2 size note card. I will be creasing that with my Teflon bone folder and trimming this foiled panel down with my Tonic guillotine paper trimmer down to 4 by 5.25 inches. So here I am just removing that love from that heart that I die cut. I will be using some Tombow liquid adhesive on the back of that so that I can have a little bit of time to make sure that I get that placed where I want it on this vellum piece. And then when I'm happy with that placement, I go ahead and add some more of that glue where the word love will go. I will then place that pink glitter love in place of the other one, and then use the center from the white love die cut in place in the center of the pink glitter one, and you can see that inlay right there. So here I'm just trying to decide where I want it placed on the card, and then when I figured where I want that, I use some Bertech foam tape and place that on the back of the heart to add a little bit of dimension, and then I will also use that same foam tape on the back of that foiled panel. And I go ahead and remove the release paper and try to line that panel up on my card base. And then I use my T-square ruler to try and make sure that that heart is straight on that foiled piece on top of that card base. I used some scissors to trim off the excess that was hanging over the side. And then my stamp positioning tool and a small piece of vellum. I will be heat embossing a sentiment from this Lawn Fawn Mom and Me stamp set, just the I love you. I will be heat embossing that in silver. I forgot to treat that powder or that vellum with my anti-static powder bag, but thankfully it worked just fine this time. I'm using some Versamark ink to stamp that down, and some Ranger silver embossing powder. I will be using my Wagner heat gun to heat set that, just until it is shiny and completely melted. I love watching this, it's so fun to see it go from that dull to a very shiny color. I will then use my Tonic guillotine paper trimmer again to trim that down into a thin strip, and then place that on my heart die cut. Vellum's a tricky one to adhere down. Unless you have adhesive on the entire back of it, you can see adhesive on there. So I just used some 1/4 inch score tape to cover the entire back side of that little strip. And then I'm using my Tim Holtz craft pick to remove the release paper, and I will use my T-square ruler to make sure that I have it all lined up, and I will place that over top of that love die cut. I will then be using some gemstones. They are SS12 and SS4 gemstones, and my wax pencil and some distress collage medium in the matte finish to adhere those down. So I love how this one turned out. I think it was fun to very fun to create. And if you want to be notified when I upload the rest of the cards in this series, go ahead and subscribe and tap that notification bell, and I will be back with day 2 very soon. Thank you so much for watching.